Hey everyone, welcome to Web Development Tutorial for Beginners video 7. This is the third CSS video. We're going to be talking about classes. Classes are a huge deal in CSS as they will make your code more efficient. You'll be able to write one styling and you'll be able to place it in multiple different areas. You can specify which areas you're going to go to, and we're going to talk all about that here in the video. We're also going to talk about padding, border, and margins. Now, we've talked about or used those before, but we haven't really talked about exactly what they're used for and what their meaning is and the specifics between each one of them. And so we're really going to dive into that and get going on that right now. So I hope you guys are ready to go, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So starting off, I wanted to talk about classes. And so here we've created class box, and then there we've created a box specific to heading ones, and they have two different functions. But now we're going to assign a specific paragraph and assign it to class box. So if you do class equals box in quotes, it will make the about me portion specific to the class box. Now we can add in a class and create a class associated with any tag we have in here. So if we go down to our forms and input, we go down to our label, we could do a class equals box for our label, and that specific label is going to get the same information that we have in the style.css class box. So here we have box with width 30%, auto margin, gray, white, yellow dotted around, and so you can see that that has yellow dotted border. And so that would follow along this box tag instructions. So the great thing about these classes is that you can really put multiple things into one. So if we wanted to put a gray box and a blue box, we can do that. So if we go gray box and then we go in and control F for find and find our box words and change those to gray box. And sometimes I spell it the European spelling G-R-E-Y, but it's G-R-A-Y, gray box, gray box, gray box, and so one more gray box, and that will specify which box I'm talking about because I've changed the name from box to gray box, and then I wanted to make the border to be solid here, and then you will see that once I fix that and save both, you will see a gray box show up with a yellow border. Then I'm going to go ahead and create a blue box class as well. And as I make this in here, I need to know that this will only work if I also create a div for the blue box class in my HTML code. But I'm going to go ahead and copy my gray box code and paste it into the blue box, and I'm just going to change a few things here. I'm going to change background color to blue and text color to orange and my border color to pink, and I'm going to change my border to 5 pixels instead of 15. So make sure you control S there, and I'm just going to change this paragraph for an example, and I'm going to change so the bold and italicized text location paragraph to class equals blue box in quotes, and that way if you save both your CSS and your HTML, you'll see that there's a blue box off to the right there that is specific to the blue box code as opposed to the gray box code. Okay, now I want to talk about what's off to the right here, and this is called the CSS Box Model, and so there you see us circling the content. The content is the actual stuff that is getting put in. Okay, but then there's another invisible 3 layers. There's padding, border, and margins. And so we've used all those a little bit. Padding, border, and margins all over our code. But I'm going to go ahead and explain those a little bit more. So in our paragraph, I'm going to create a specific style for our paragraph to change it up so you guys can just witness the differences here. And so I'm going to put my padding at 15 pixels, My border is going to go ahead and be 1 pixel for now, and I'm going to put my margin at 0 pixels. And so that way you'll be able to see a little bit. And if you actually go ahead and make a color for that, I'm going to go back and go ahead and make a background color for my paragraph, and I'm going to actually erase one of my paragraphs so that it has the visuals of what I'm looking for here. And so if you go back and go ahead and delete also the about me, so you can just see it right here in front of you. I haven't made a color for it yet, and so I'm about to do that here. And so if you go ahead and make a background color as well, it'll be a little bit easier to see. And the background is able to show all those layers, the padding, border, and margins. So that's really why you need it in order to see kind of what we're talking about here. So here you see that I have actually the padding is where the blue, the space between the blue and the actual content. Okay, so you see that there's a little bit of a space there. If I change that to 1, you see how that space shrinks in a lot. And so when you have it at 15, it grows quite a bit bigger. And so you see where that padding is. That border is only 1 pixel. Now the border needs to have a color in order for us to really see it. But so if I change it to 15 pixels, it's not going to do anything. But if I go ahead and make the border a specific color, and so if I add yellow solid, then it will have a border that it builds that's 15 pixels wide all the way around it. So now you see that border layer coming in. And then if it's 1, you can still see the layer. You just need to make sure you make a color and make sure it's a solid. And margin, if I make my margins 100, it's got a lot of pixels in between the edge. We've done percentages before. We've done, and if I do like 1,000, it will entirely disappear, just because that means that the margins are 1,000 pixels from each side, which is a huge, huge screen, which shoves it all the way together and gives you no visual. So if you increase the size of this at 500, you can see it's barely even there. It's really pushed together. And so that kind of gives you an idea of what each of these padding, border, and margins specifically do. Okay, that is it for Web Development Tutorial for Beginners, Video 7 and CSS Video 3. And so you guys have a better understanding of how classes work and how to manipulate and use classes to make your code more efficient and specify which areas you want to have what styling. You also have definitions and understanding of what padding, border, and margins all do. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, this is Coding Club signing off.